Hi, everyone. My name is Bob Escher, and I'm an architect in Dorset, Vermont. And with my friend Jennifer Martin from Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, we are excited to be here to present Hempcrete, a naturally adaptive solution for the built environment. I started my practice 32 years ago in Dorset and have specialized in custom homes, country clubs, libraries, and small commercial projects. It has been said that people thought I would be the last person that they would ever suspect to be involved with Hempcrete. But it's true. Back in 2017, my son Alex joined my firm in order to create a branch that would study the possibilities of building with hemp-based materials. We ended up going out to Colorado to learn about Hempcrete, and lo and behold, 8 months later, with the help of Eric McKee and Left Hand Hemp, we built the first permitted Hempcrete structure in Denver. I would have never believed at that time that this small 16 by 20 post and beam barn in suburban Denver, called the Wonder Workshop, would attract global attention that would change my life and take my architectural practice in a new direction.
My name is Jennifer Martin, and I'm a design builder from Massachusetts. I've been steeped in sustainable architecture for over 20 years and dove into hempcrete as a construction material 2 years ago once industrial hemp became legal to farm. Together, Tom Ross Masler and I run Hempstone. We provide consultation, construction, and training in hempcrete and other sustainable materials. At Hempstone, I wear a variety of hats, including building contractor, project manager, and design consultant, all with an aim to catalyze change in the built environment. Tom and I joined the US Hemp Building Association in 2019 and are proud to serve as New England regional leaders.
So what is the US Hemp Building Association? In 2017, a few of us decided to create an association to take the existing hemp building community from a decades-old cottage industry and bring it into the mainstream construction market. Our mission statement is clear. We support and advocate for hemp building professionals, hemp building projects, and hemp building materials in the United States. And with that, we have 3 goals and objectives: education, certifications, and infrastructure. With education, the USHBA offers resources for building professionals by providing training and best practices for projects incorporating hemp-based materials. As far as certifications, we're working hand in hand with ASTM, ICC, and UL to create the specifications of Hempcrete so that it can be a viable and certified product. Finally, the biggest challenge right now is infrastructure. The USHBA is teaming up with many individuals across the country to help create the infrastructure to get the harvested hemp processed and ready for market. By creating the Wonder Workshop, I have seen firsthand how there is a quick second of time when you can really make a difference. This slide best represents how my own personal journey has been redirected by the discovery of how building with hemp can change the world. Reading between the lines, I think this sign says it all.
Indeed, we are being sent a clear message that business as usual is not working. As a builder, I feel a responsibility to use materials that make the most sense for all stakeholders, for our clients, our trades partners, the building occupants, and the planet. As industry professionals, we all face the most profound quandary of our lives. How do we reckon with the changing conditions of an unstable climate? And how can we mitigate the risks that this imposes on the buildings that we design, build, and maintain? In fact, our ability to adapt will be paramount to our success. Adaptation is the process by which a species, in this case, humans, become better suited to our environment. Our collective creativity is being called on at this critical moment in time. Our very human goodness as artists, craftspeople, thinkers, doers, and innovators is being called upon. Together, we must answer the call to imagine, envision, and engage our built environment in new ways. Whether it's making use of existent, local, abundant materials, utilizing materials that have a small but growing foothold in our industry, or helping to foster building products from new sources like industrial hemp. Hemp is a fast-growing agricultural plant now being grown throughout the United States, and Hempcrete is a creative and innovative way to utilize the significant biomass that is produced from its stalks. We are being called upon as a species to adapt, to respond creatively, and innovate in order to thrive. As building professionals, we have an opportunity to lead the way by integrating adaptive solutions into our businesses and into our buildings. Hempcrete is an optimal adaptive material, offering unique properties that make it well suited to the risks of a changing climate while providing superior comfort to occupants, going easy on the Earth's resources, and being beautiful to behold. There are 5 ways that Hempcrete provides superior comfort to its occupants. Hempcrete regulates internal humidity and maintains a stable indoor temperature without mechanical systems, even in extreme outdoor conditions. And we'll expand on both of these concepts later in the presentation. Hempcrete can also endure periodic wetting from floods and sustained high humidity conditions without damage. Hempcrete is fireproof and is an excellent thermal resistor in wildfire conditions. The lime in Hempcrete kills bacteria and is mold resistant while also deterring pests and vermin. There are also 5 ways that Hempcrete is easy on the planet's resources. Industrial hemp is rapidly renewable, having a 3 to 4 month growth cycle, and hemp stores a tremendous amount of carbon in its stalk. Placed into a building, this material locks away that carbon into the structure. Naturally safe and non-toxic, Hempcrete is made of 3 simple ingredients: hemp stalks called hurd, a lime-based binder, and water. Hempcrete is very versatile. It can be used throughout the building envelope in any above grade assembly, be they floor applications, throughout the walls, and in roof assemblies. This natural biocomposite is reusable and or biodegradable at the end of the building's life. Hempcrete is beautiful to behold at any scale. Used in both residential and commercial spaces, Hempcrete, shown on the left, defines an exterior wall and complements other natural building materials such as brick. To speak more to the beauty, functionality, and scalability of Hempcrete in buildings, Bob will take us on a tour of Hempcrete structures from around the world.
Thanks, Jennifer. You've shown some really great examples of Hempcrete interiors. Now let's take a look at what form Hempcrete buildings can take from the outside. This slide shows an incredible house from the 1600s that's been totally retrofitted back in the 1980s. The addition that they did in the 80s is on the left-hand side. And from what I understand, they totally gutted the building, did the addition, and then renovated it so that they then included the Hempcrete panels inside of the timbering of the walls. I'm sorry, but this just looks like it's right out of history books. It's a perfect application. The next slide shows a passive house in Ireland. Now this is new construction. Now this is another example, but at another extreme. Very simple lines, colonial in scale, but it's Hempcrete. How would we know that that's Hempcrete? That could be just typical stucco type of house, or adobe or Stowe, but it's Hempcrete and blends in beautifully and works perfectly with this type of house. The next building in Quebec, here's a mix of materials blended together in a common hue of color. You have the stone base on the bottom and then the Hempcrete walls with the lime plaster finish on top. The big overhang with slate roofs and a beautiful cupola bringing light and air into the building. What a great example. Following that is a picture I'm sure most of us have seen. This is a house in Asheville, North Carolina, done about 10 years ago by the mayor of the city. Very modern, very good use of materials, wood, hempcrete, metal rails. It's a perfect blend. And again, that could be stucco, adobe, or stone, but it's hempcrete. Now getting into some multifamily homes. Here's an apartment building in Letchworth, UK. Again, hempcrete walls, wood paneling on for accents, and the louvers for some control. Another great example. Next, we have social housing in Northern Ireland, right on the water. Beautiful, beautiful environment. This again, hempcrete buildings, nice clean edges, use of materials blending together as a wonderful place for families to live. Following that is the triangle mix housing. Many people, I'm sure you've seen these pictures in Swindon, UK. Those are wind scoops and gabion walls. An incredible example of mixed-use housing in a community using hempcrete. Now this building in Italy is one of my favorites. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories tall. So it's proof of what we're going to see in America in a couple of years. Italy has certified hempcrete as a building material to be used in commercial, multifamily, and residential homes. Beautiful mix of hempcrete with really nice accents of wood. Next is a smaller scale. It's a play center in Yorkshire, England. And in this case, you have a hempcrete base, but have the vertical wood siding covering the rest of the wall. Now, here's an example where you could bring siding into the mix as long as you have a wood, the wood overlapping the hempcrete with an airspace so that the hemp can then breathe. Following this, pretty large scale. Here is the Marks and Spencer department store in UK. Your typical mall building, perhaps, but it's probably got a 16 or 18-inch thick hempcrete wall supporting the curvy walls and transoms and clear stories. Again, a really good use of hempcrete in a commercial atmosphere. Finally, you have the Brewery Distribution Center in Southwold, UK. I've always said from the beginning when I first started this journey that warehousing and storage buildings would be perfect for hempcrete because it controls the internal temperature, controls humidity. And here's something that was built a number of years ago that is doing just that.
Thanks, Bob. It's valuable to see what the hempcrete industry has achieved over the last 30 years, particularly throughout Europe, where commercial, institutional, and industrial structures have proven the virtues of hempcrete at scale. We now know that hempcrete is a naturally adaptive solution to address climate change while serving occupants optimally as a high-performing, healthy, and attractive indoor environment. Now, let's dive into some of the mechanics of hempcrete. Hempcrete is also a versatile building material that's easy to use, pleasant to work with, and capable of being put to use anywhere in the building envelope above grade. Plus, hempcrete stores a significant amount of carbon in its structure. It's a win-win that will entice thoughtful builders and clients alike who demand more from their investments of time and money. These three ingredients, hemp hurd, a lime-based binder, and water, combine to make a fluffy, wet mix biocomposite that can be molded into virtually any shape, drying into a hard, stone-like material. Hempcrete mixes can vary in density, weighing in at about 19 pounds per cubic foot for a standard walling mix. This biocomposite balances both insulative and thermal mass properties, making it excellent at regulating indoor temperatures. Roof assembly mixes are lighter still, providing enhanced insulation properties, while floor assemblies can be mixed more densely to enhance thermal mass properties. Hempcrete is monolithic, meaning that it uses the same material all the way through the assembly and can be installed in 4 different ways. The top 2 are wet installed. The image on the left is a cast-in-place method where hempcrete is placed between forms, while on the right, hempcrete is spray applied against a permanent or temporary solid backing. The bottom 2 methods are done off-site and arrive dry as prefabricated panels or blocks. In the United States, cast-in-place and spray apply is more common, but regional off-site manufacturing is coming online. This simple cast-in-place hempcrete assembly begins with a structural frame of wood. Wet hempcrete is installed between temporary forms, allowed to dry, then finished with a breathable plaster on both the inside and outside assembly faces. The plaster serves as an airtight barrier in the assembly and can achieve the most stringent airtightness standards. Lime plaster uses the same base constituent material that is in hempcrete, so the vapor permeability of the assembly remains consistent from one face to the other. This is important because hempcrete walls are vapor permeable, allowing the thermal envelope to naturally manage moisture throughout the assembly. This makes hempcrete an excellent humidity regulator in structures. It also means that as our climates become wetter and warmer, building professionals can rest assured that the thermal envelopes are still performing optimally. This is the same assembly, only finished with cladding. In this situation, a rain screen system is utilized, and either a base coat of lime plaster is applied directly to the hempcrete to create an airtight barrier, or an airtight but vapor permeable membrane is used. With this system, nearly any cladding material can be utilized. Although hempcrete sounds similar to concrete, it should be thought of altogether differently. This biocomposite is non-structural and vapor permeable, so it's best used in places where hempcrete can safely transfer moisture from one face of the assembly to the other. Hempcrete is specified for use throughout the thermal envelope in conjunction with a structural frame, particularly in above grade applications. This includes floors at or above grade, in walls, usually with the wall framing and casing within the biocomposite, but sometimes, as shown here, nestled behind a structural timber frame. Hempcrete can also be utilized throughout roof assemblies. Using hempcrete throughout the building envelope optimizes hempcrete's many high-performing benefits of comfort, carbon storage, and a healthy indoor environment. This graph illustrates the thermal regulating properties of hempcrete. This structure was monitored for both internal and external temperatures, shown in bright blue and purple, respectively. Notice that the internal temperatures remained relatively steady over the course of 2 days, despite significant swings in the temperature outdoors. Hempcrete helps stabilize the internal temperature without auxiliary heating or cooling from mechanical systems. This results in savings to the occupants and owners. Hempcrete's exceptional thermal performance is due to its monolithic structure and its hygroscopic nature. This creates a large thermal mass with minimal thermal bridging, resulting in low thermal conductivity, high thermal capacity, and steady state humidity levels. Here, University of Bath professors Pete Walker and Dr. Sean Platt in England conduct thermal resistant tests on several materials, including hempcrete in the center. While hempcrete has a static R value at a conservative R2 per inch, it has a dynamic or real world value well above what traditional insulation testing methodologies can illustrate. In actuality, a 10-inch hempcrete wall with a static R value of about R20 performs more like a super insulated house using lightweight insulation materials reaching R40. Of course, hempcrete can be installed in thicknesses necessary to achieve adequate R value standards when needed for those building in prescriptive-based code jurisdictions. Thanks to the significant carbon storing potential of hemp, Hempcrete outpaces every insulation material available. Notice that when compared side by side to other materials, Hempcrete comes out on top in a 4-foot by 8-foot wall assembly. For those looking to lower the carbon footprint of their structures, Hempcrete is a versatile solution to reach beyond net zero in terms of both operational carbon, which is the energy used by the occupants of a building, and embodied carbon, which is the energy used in the production of the building materials. At this point, the building industry is largely focused on operational carbon, while embodied carbon remains an ethical decision between building professionals and their clients. However, this is changing. Across the country, jurisdictions are beginning to address embodied carbon in the built environment, which means paying attention to the materials that go into them. In some cases, carbon storing materials are starting to be financially incentivized. Hempcrete is the high-performance construction material that gives occupants a healthy, beautiful, and comfortable environment. The US Hemp Building Association is working diligently to make sure that this biocomposite is accessible to designers and builders and ensure that it is exportable for all. We are proud to include many of the world's hempcrete leaders in the US Hemp Building Association, such as Alex Sparrow, who co-wrote the Hempcrete book, Chris Magwood, who authored Essential Hempcrete Construction, and Parsons Healthy Materials Lab at the New School. These are just a few of the awesome hemp leaders who are guiding the way for this nascent industry. The US HBA and its membership offers excellent resources to get you going with hempcrete and other hemp building materials. Watch videos on hempcrete construction, join our Facebook communities, and explore hempcrete with hands-on workshops. Check out ushba.org to find out hempcrete structures in your area and meet other hemp building professionals throughout this country and beyond. As we wind down our presentation, I'd like to share some of Hempstone's recent work. This is the first hempcrete house in Massachusetts. Hempstone partnered with Village Carpentry as the general contractor to utilize new building materials of hempcrete and lime plaster, working alongside them throughout the design and construction process. This construction company became convinced that using natural materials is both cost-effective and marketable to their working-class Western Massachusetts clientele. Even before construction was complete, Village Carpentry began benefiting from the press and positive attention that building with hempcrete garnered. On the left is the house nearing completion on a cold winter day. On the right, final preparations are being made for lime plaster installation in early fall. Speaking to the building crew, they appreciated the opportunity to use materials that were healthy and pleasant to work with throughout the construction process. A lime plaster finishes adorns the hempcrete throughout the structure, some of which has been tinted with a natural pigment. To augment the benefits of hempcrete as a natural carbon beneficial material, the interior of the home utilizes other complementary natural building materials as well, including local pine and hemlock timbers and site-sourced maple and birch flooring. Local pine boards are used in lieu of drywall and painted with a milk paint. The images on the left show a bedroom at top and a home office below. The office includes a hempcrete truth window to the right of the big window, so that visitors to the home can experience hempcrete firsthand. This main space is flooded with light and has a warm and inviting feel. This structure expresses a natural beauty through simple, healthy, eco-friendly materials and is an absolute joy to experience.
So, in conclusion, I would like to recommend that if you would like to be part of creating a new industry and a new genre of design, get out there and learn as much as you can about building with hemp. We at the USHBA are estimating that we will see the certifications and infrastructures in place within 2 to 3 years. Remember, it's only been 2 years since the passing of the 2018 Farm Bill, that allowed hemp to be legally grown in the United States. Take this time to learn about building with Hempcrete. There are hundreds of instructional videos you can watch on YouTube. Get your hands dirty by taking classes that will teach you the basics of Hempcrete. And then build small by building simple outbuildings, like the Wonder Workshop in the photo to the right. Outbuildings, by definition, are not places of habitation or assembly, so they don't have the major life safety requirements or stringent zoning and permitting issues like a new house or retail store would have. Another example of building small are these two drawings on the left, which are part of a portfolio of Vermont post and beam hempcrete structures that Alex and I presented to Governor Scott of Vermont a year ago. The purpose was to show him the possibilities of what hemp can do and the impact it can have for Vermont farmers and the Vermont economy. So if you want to learn more about Hempcrete or the USHBA, please feel free to call or email Jennifer or me directly to the numbers and addresses listed in the slide above.
Thank you for your time exploring Hempcrete as a robust, healthy, high performance, and carbon beneficial material. These characteristics are essential in the built environment to mitigate risk and adapt to the impacts of an unstable climate. As we embark on a changing landscape of upcoming federal and state investment in green and sustainable industries, the real potential of new materials like Hempcrete is to foster sustainable development for our businesses, for our communities, and for the building industry as a whole. As building professionals, we quite literally shape the world around us. With Hempcrete, we will design and build a resilient future for generations to come. Thanks for joining us.